How do you feel about your experiences when people ask you about your life? Do you get excited? Do you freeze up? Do you hesitate? Do you freeze? Do you start feeling with anxiety? Whew, cat hair. If any of those things sound familiar to you, stick around. Let's dive into it a little bit more. My name's Deb, just a human, having experiences, sharing them to help you gain confidence in yours. These videos never have a pre-subject. In fact, I had 5 different subjects on my mind and then I hit record and something totally different came out. So usually I like to just share kind of what I'm going through or something that I'm working through that's from a past time. And it seems to be really helpful for a lot of people. So I like to share in the way that feels most comfortable to me. But then sometimes I don't feel like sharing, and that's kind of when I don't post for a while. And whether that's because I feel a little more vulnerable, or I'm resting, or playing, or focusing on other things of life, family, and things. Obviously, we all have lives we're juggling, right? So, wow, what did I even start with? How do you feel when describing your life to someone else? And when you describe your life to someone else, is it different than how you would describe your life to yourself? Either when you're reminiscing about memories, thinking about how far you've came, or maybe how much you've screwed up. Are you thinking about the present moment? What kind of things are you headed towards now? Or for me, it's a really hard one because I have a lot of people. Hey, what have you been up to? We haven't seen you in a while. And how do you politely tell someone you just went through probably one of the most complicated times of your entire life for the last 5 years? And you're here smiling. You're here doing it. You're still here trying to, not trying, just reflecting back goodness in others when I see you meet them. Try to be diligent on working on my own triggers so that as I get closer to people, I can maintain those friendships and relationships without my shadows getting in the way. Believe me, I have a long list of people I owe apologies to. They're they're there. Very specific people, very specific situations. Will I ever apologize to them? Probably someday soon. It's getting close. The apology's there. Just afraid. Afraid it just won't be understood or bring up unnecessary things that don't need to be brought up. Sometimes it seems it's just better left forgotten. It's not better left forgotten. You don't forget it. That's the thing. I haven't forgotten it. I'm pretty sure they haven't forgotten it. But also, sometimes the apologies are just for ourselves and to move forward, leave those things behind. It's one thing to say authentic and be yourself. For most people, being themselves would absolutely frighten them. They don't know who they are. They don't know what that means. When I went and did a 10-day Vipassana meditation sit a few years back, many years back now, and as I was explaining to people, hey, how are you doing? And I would tell them what I have on my agenda, what I'm preparing for, or what I just did, whether it was beforehand or afterhand. And a lot of people said that the reaction was like, oh gosh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't sit with my mind for that long. And I was really shocked. I was thrilled at the idea of sitting with my mind for 2 weeks, not talking to anyone for 2 weeks, not having any household responsibilities for 2 weeks. Like that was the best vacation I've ever had. And it felt almost too short. And I would love to do it every year. And definitely taught me the state of impermanence and being in the present moment. For those entire 10 days, I would find myself drifting to what I was going to do when I got out of there. And when I got out of there, I got news that completely changed my life and my trajectory and my ability to feel emotions and heartbreak and trauma. And all of that happened in a matter of one one text message. So that was interesting. Now we're diving into a tangent. When people ask about your life or you're sharing about your life, what are the first things that are coming to your mind? What are the things that you're sharing? And if you feel like maybe they aren't aren't surrounded by joy and appreciation and gratitude, that might be a good clue of where to start with some self-work. Right now my response has been I'm just working. And that's okay for right now because it's what I'm choosing right now and it's fine. It's fine. I went from spending most all day, every day out in nature to not so much nature. But I am getting enough. I'm still getting out and talking to nature, getting outside of cell service. I have built a really good life for myself. I feel like I've done pretty well. Even at the moments of hitting rock bottom, which there have been many, I could still say everything is working out for me. This too shall pass. What's the lesson in this? And sometimes I feel hurried of like I'm I'm a fast learner. Just give me the lesson already and let's move on. And sometimes I'm not a fast learner, mostly because there's so many layers. And this body is filled with DNA and energies from past generations and past lifetimes. I mean, mostly generations. Like, can you think how much DNA has it takes to just make me where we are right now? How many generations and mixes? It's crazy. And when I think of some of the things that I've done in my life that no one else in my life has ever, or my, like, I just know for the pure fact of technology and where we're at, that I have done things that nobody in my lineage has done. Nobody in my lineage has strapped themselves to a rope and walked out in midair on a 1 inch piece of webbing, piece of rope. Trying to explain that very primitively. Let's take highlining. Highlining is slacklining, but in between, it's called highlining. So you have this orb of exposure where basically you tie a slack line in between two cliffs or trees and walk it. You're tethered in, so you're safe, just like a rock climber. But nothing's safe. It's all a calculated risk. Don't try it at home unless you actually know. Like, you either know or you don't know. My words are very primitive. It's very much more complicated than that. But nobody else in my lineage has done that. And I'm not sure how other people obtained houses in previous centuries. I'm sure there has been, like, has there been a woman that has built a house? Were how involved were they in things like that, or were they very much spending all day cooking because they didn't have the conveniences of today that it took all day to cook, while men and other capable children and members of the community built the homes? Like, I'm not sure. I really just feel like I'm on tangents. Point is knowing who you are. Most people don't know who they are, and it's kind of hard to find out who you are, especially when you're a culmination of all these previous generations and personalities and attitudes and traditions that have been passed down to you. Like, knowing who you are is hard because you're not always just you. That's part of coming to earth, is we have all that extra baggage that we're born into. And that's complicated. That's very complicated. As authenticity becomes a trend and probably the most important piece to a lot of people's growth, authenticity can be triggered with fake it till you make it. Find an avatar like you're in a video game, pick which suits you best, throw that on, and pretend to be that for a little while. See how you like it. Is it another mask, another thing of the ego? Maybe, but you're probably going to learn a lot. I've put on a lot of different masks. And were they out of ego? In the moment, I felt they came from my heart. On the other side of the lesson, did they come from ego? There's definitely things I can look back on and see where I was in the ego. I think I'm going to end this here. Much love. Be authentic. Be you. Or don't be you. But find someone that you would like to be like. And as long as it's for good intention and good reason, fake it till you make it. Because you're never going to be ready to do what you want to do. You're never going to feel ready. Well, actually, that's what a lot of coaches say. I don't believe that. If you feel it in your heart and it's backed by faith, things are always going to work out for you. You're excited to be here on this planet. You're excited to be part of this video game. You're excited to have this character that you can morph into literally anything that you want. Look at all the things that someone has done out there, and they are a human just like you. You are capable of doing anything else that another human is. And that goes for evil too. All the war and things, like, you are capable of that, and you choose not to take that route. So already pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back if your choice is to not put yourself into a place of power and make people suffer. Pat yourself on the back if you're simply concerned about making sure those around you feel joy and warmth and acceptance. Pat yourself on the back just to pat yourself on the back, because you are awesome and you deserve it. You're worthy. I don't know what that's going to sound like, but I thought we would try it. You have a wonderful day out there. If you're still listening to this, I hope something in here resonated. These videos aren't going to resonate with everyone, but they are kind of a timeless video that whenever it finds you, probably found you for a reason. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.